my son passed away on a morning where I was home alone with both of my boys. I had two little boys that were 15 months apart. My husband at the time, very busy dentist. We had multiple practices. So he had been in the Phoenix area at our dental office there. And so I was home alone and exhausted, and I fell asleep. And I live in a small town, a very agricultural part of the state. And Drew let himself outside and wandered to an irrigation canal and fell in and drowned while I obviously was at home sleeping. So that question of, did I share responsibility in what happened, would haunt me. I mean, torture me. I almost surrendered to the belief that somehow I deserved to never be happy again because I fell asleep, and there was this guilt, this blame that just was so ever present. And finally, I decided to challenge that narrative. Did I go to sleep knowing that my son would let himself outside? And did I just willfully not care? And there was a resounding no. And that was the first moment where I feel like my heart kind of jumped in, like that voice of the heart, that inner part of my resilience that finally quieted that mind's, ever-present dominant kind of messaging, like, it's your fault. If it weren't for you, he would be alive. If it weren't for you, your husband would still be here. Because I lost everything within a month. I buried my son, and then my husband left because of his frustration and anger at me for having fallen asleep. And so I really felt so isolated and so utterly alone that I was so tempted to go there too, to let the actions of others, to let the questions, which were fair questions, what happened? How did this come about? I found that I couldn't answer that question without berating myself until I really asked myself that question. Did I really not care? Am I really that kind of mom that just had been up for 2 days with my son, Devin, my younger child, giving him breathing treatments, doing the best job I could as a mother? My son, Drew, woke up at very early, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just did the same things that I would do on any other given day. Unfortunately, on this particular day, there were unintended consequences to the decisions that I had been making that I trusted and thought were the right decisions. And with those realizations, the clarity finally came that I was a good mother and an unthinkable thing happened. But I have seen so many moms, like in stores, where they're looking for their kids, and they get away from us. There's no perfect parent, and there's no perfectly safe environment. We have to be vigilant and do our part, but I also think we have to have grace for those moments when our humanness steps in. And sitting with that pain, as difficult as it was for me, was my saving grace, because it finally was allowing myself not to run from this thought or truth. I was the parent that was home. This is what happened, but I am a good mother. I am still a good mother. I am a loving mother. I deserve to be supported in this experience and not isolated. And so I just made that decision for myself that the first person who would stop criticizing me was me. With the holidays, I remember that in my grief, before I really sat with it, that these were such painful moments, things that just really did a number on my heart, and something that was offered to me by the woman that had lost her son to cancer. And she said, give the gift of memory. Give the gift of memory this Christmas. Write down as a gift to each person a memory that you have of them withdrew. Something that is really meaningful or special that maybe they didn't even see or know about, but give them that gift. And it is something that to this day I do. It might be emotional, but the gratitude component elevates. It allows us to share the best of the time that we were fortunate enough to have with our loved one.
Yeah.
In a present way that feels like bringing them forward.
Instead of in death, it's a living tribute. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's one thing that I would like to offer the listener is give the gift of memory this Christmas. Allow yourself to find meaning in those small moments that maybe you didn't really think were significant at the time, but allow yourself to reflect and to see the gift of those moments and then share them with the people that knew your loved one. And just the ripple effect of that is so wonderful. It's so rich. It's so meaningful that is what I truly believe this time of year is really meant for. It's meant to not just gather together, but to appreciate and acknowledge each other for the gift that they are to us and those memories are to us. Because the one thing that I know for certain is that love transitions, but it does not die.
Mm-hmm.